something that we need as a W could use like a show or something, or just something so people can like really see what it's like to be a WNBA player. And I think they'll fall in love with us that much more.
Oh yeah, for sure. Hey everyone, welcome to the 411 with Deja Kelly. Popularity of women's sports has been on the rise in the past few years. Without continued support to elevate the game, the space risks losing momentum for the next generation. As a brand committed to covering what matters most, State Farm is stepping up to make sure women's sports continues to grow and thrive. Today, we have the pleasure of welcoming Betnijah Laney of the New York Liberty into the studio, where we'll discuss the current state of the game, the future, the business side, and everything in between. Betnijah, thank you so much for stopping by. How are you feeling today?
Good.
Good.
Happy to be here.
Yeah. So, just playing in New York, you got to tell me how it's been kind of living in Brooklyn. I know you were saying you're a foodie, so
I am
a lot of food spots. Yeah.
A lot of food spots. And it ranges, just depending on what I want. If it's tacos, if it's pizza, Italian. There's a little bit of everything in Brooklyn, especially right around downtown near Barclays. I have a few favorite spots. Pizza wise, it's probably Cuts and Slices because they have so many different options.
Yeah.
Italian, Terre is really good. Okay. Evelina is really good.
Okay.
Yeah.
How would you compare it to Philly food from where you're from?
The food in New York is really good, but nothing beats a Philly cheesesteak.
Right.
Nothing beats a Philly cheesesteak.
So I've heard lots of good things. I have yet to have one really from. I've never been to Philly. So
you gotta go.
I know.
We gotta get you there.
I gotta make a trip there for sure. But with being from Philly, you went to Rutgers. Mm-hmm. Basketball was not just a game for you, but when you're in college, it kind of is an actual business. That's when you kind of realize it's a business. And once you realize that, how did that affect like your outlook on the game?
Yeah, I think, coming up, I didn't really like basketball.
Really?
I didn't want anything to do with it, but I was just always around it. Because, like I said, my mother played, so she always gave back to the community by teaching kids how to play basketball. And so I kind of just fell into it. And it wasn't really until, like, high school where I was just like, okay, this is a real thing. I still didn't really watch it too much, but then in college, that's when, like you said, you just learn so much more about it. That's when we were going to WNBA games. I didn't see my first WNBA game until college when Coach Stringer took us to see some former Rutgers players, and that's when I was like, okay, like this is what I really want to do, as a career, and just having former Rutgers players come back who were in the league, coming back and just sharing their stories and what it took, what it's like playing in the WNBA, and I'm just like, okay, that's what I want to do. I want that to be me.
Yeah, that's awesome. So with that, I mean, having to find yourself kind of getting closer to basketball once you're in college, just watching games, really finding yourself really in it. There's a mental part to that, right? Like there's a mental side, there's mental lapses even sometimes. So what did you do on a daily basis, on a regular basis, to kind of keep yourself mentally sharp and keep making sure that you're still effective in any way possible?
I think the biggest thing when dealing with anything mentally is prayer. That has gone a long way, and it will continue to go a long way, for me especially. But just being intentional about whatever it is that you're doing. I think setting goals is really important, so that you have something, okay, this is what I want, how am I going to get there? Right. And just appreciating the process. It's not going to be easy. Yeah. It's going to have its moments where it's really tough, but then it's going to also be really rewarding. And so I think just kind of sticking with whatever it is that you want to do and just finding a way, even when it's hard, just continuing to stick with it, try and be as consistent as possible in whatever it is. And I think that just prayer and being really intentional.
Absolutely. But was there a time with that, all the work you put in high school leading up to college, but was there a time once you got to college that you felt like you were losing confidence in yourself? And if so, kind of how did you overcome that? Like, did you have to take yourself back to just remind yourself of the work you put in? How did you overcome that?
I did have that moment where I just felt like everything I was doing was wrong. And as we know, Coach Stringer is tough as nails. And so, you know, sometimes she'll say something, I'm like, goodness, like, I don't even know what I did, or like, I don't know how to fix this. And it was just kind of like, it just mentally kind of took a toll on me. And it really was just me having to like sit down one day and was like, okay, like, you know what you want, like, you know what it takes to get here, like, and you know, it comes with remembering who you are, remembering what you're capable of, regardless of, you know, what it feels like, regardless, like, and I had a thing of, you know, just in my head thinking about what everybody else was maybe thinking, and maybe thinking like, oh, she's not, you know, what we thought, or, you know, whatever it was, and like realizing that sometimes like that was me, you know, putting that on myself. That person probably didn't think that or never said that, whatever, but it was me just, again, remembering that and starting to do the things that I knew that I needed to do to be able to get to where I wanted to be.
Right. And kind of what was your support system? Like, who did you kind of lean on in those moments? Because again, sometimes it's hard as an athlete. You have other athletes around you that may be going through the same thing. You don't really talk about it. So it's almost like sometimes you can get into your own little like hole, and it's like, you know, I'm just figuring this out by myself. But at the end, in the end, everyone needs somebody. So like, who can you talk about that was, you felt was like your biggest support system within that time?
I definitely say my mother, because she played for Coach Ring, so she knew exactly what it was, you know, that I was dealing with. And how I needed to navigate it, to just try and be my best self. She was really big for me. And then Curtis, the person that I was training with, you know, he helped me a lot with, you know, just the drills and stuff that we were doing, you know, just continuing to talk to me, you know, sending me little texts like, hey, you know, I saw the game, this, you know, this is what we want to work on, or, you know, this is what you need to do, or just, you know, just encouraging thing like, you know, stay up regardless. And so I think those are, and just like my family and friends who were always around, they just really helped me a lot, because they were able to get me to do things to kind of just even take my mind off of, you know, what was happening or what wasn't happening on the court.
Right. Yeah. That's huge. That's huge to be able to feel like you can have that support, right? Someone to lean on. So with that, say if you were in that time or this time with NIL, what are ways that you feel like you would have helped kind of market or provide value while you were still in college to kind of just bring more light or more recognition or support to that space?
I think my avenue would have been more like community things. I'm a big community person. When it comes to stuff like in college, we would go and we would, you know, feed the homeless. We would go to children's hospitals. We would do a lot of things in the community. So I think that's like where I would have used my platform more with the NIL, maybe like partnering with places that like community based places. When I was in college, the you know, makeup and all of that wasn't like, there was a oh no, you're doing too much kind of thing era. Yep. But like now I love that. Like, you know, I love being able to kind of just express yourself. You know, we used to have to wear the same things, khakis and a red tie. Like there was no fashion tunnel. Like there was no fashion tunnel. And you know, just being able to partner with, you know, different clothing brands and things like that. So I think that's what I would have been into with the NIL.
Oh yeah, for sure. You see a lot of college players now like hosting their own camps too, like giving back in that way. But kind of with that, not a lot of people see the deeper side of it too. There's the financial piece that some college players don't even know about. Like you have to get the knowledge before you kind of fully jump into it. So I think financial management is something that I've had to learn so recent and quickly. So like, what was your welcome to adulthood moment with the financial side, like whether that was in college or when you got to the league?
See, finances and was something that my mother always stressed. So I don't think I had a moment where I'm just like, oh my goodness. Yeah. Because even in college, you know, I wasn't able to get like Pell Grant or anything like that. So I literally just had like my refund check, which was maybe like $2,000 a semester, which is nothing. But I still I had credit cards and I was able to manage that. Like I've never had a late payment or, you know, not been able to pay my bill. that was something that my mother always stressed, coming up. And so going into adulthood, it made that transition like so much easier.
Yeah.
And it helped, not having to have any student loans or anything, being on scholarship, so I wasn't in debt coming out of college.
Right.
So ever since then, like once I started like having money in college and then making my own money and going into the pros, I was always able to manage my money. I never had an issue there.
That's good. That's really good, because again, a lot of players that I've talked to now are like, I wish I would have had some type of guidance in that space, because now I'm like, it's later now and I'm just now figuring it out. So I think again, that's super important, but important for college players to kind of hop on that, trying to get that guidance, trying to get as much information, support as they can, because it's hard. Like, sure. It's a lot.
You're young and you're seeing this money and you think, oh my goodness, like I got this. Okay, I'm gonna get this back. Right. Like, I just got this. I can for sure get this back. So I'm gonna go buy this and buy that. But it's I always say, like, if I can't buy it at least like 5 times, then I don't need it.
Then you wait. I like that. Yeah, exactly. Because you see a lot of players, they're like, oh yeah, I got a little bit of money. Let me go spend that check right away.
Yeah.
No, I think it's about creating, like something I always talk about is generational wealth. That's something that I'm really big on trying to create right now while I'm in college. So being able to, and investing and just kind of really taking care of your money while you're in school. So once you leave school, you're kind of set. Not set for forever, but you're set for a good.
Yeah, you're on your way to be able to build so that you can retire and just live life how you want to live it.
Yep, yeah, very freely, not having to worry about much. Yeah, kind of with that. Hopefully, let's see what your answer is. But let's make up a scenario. You're in an elevator with a CEO of a Fortune 500 company. What's your pitch to them on the WNBA and or just women's basketball in general?
My pitch to them. I think it would just be as simple as just come to a game. I think a lot of people, like, they don't know what they don't know. Like, they're just there listening to, like, an internet show or something. It's women's basketball. But I think when people come and they actually see what we're about, they see the atmosphere that we've created. Every market has done a great job of fan engagement, that it just, the experience is so much fun.
Yeah. And
so I think doing that, if you just come to a game and you really get to experience, what it is that we're doing, you get to see us in action, just see how great we are as athletes, not just women, but just athletes. And then, getting to know players, just how much more we offer than just being an athlete. Like, we do so many great things off the court. We're mothers, we're, daughters, sisters, we are in the community, like, we're doing things, we're advocates for, just about any and everything. And so I think to just, come see us, get to know us, like, it'll sell itself.
Absolutely. No, yeah, and even in college, I've had multiple fans come up and been like, this was my first game. Like, you never know. Obviously, you never know when it's someone's first game, but this is my first game. I am going to be a season ticket holder now. Like, things like that, hearing things like that. Our women's team, we go to the men's games and, like, promote. We're like, hey, we have a game, like, tomorrow, the next day, like, y'all come out. And some of them are like, okay, we'll try. So, like, even taking some of the men's fans, like, just for them to, you never know until you actually go. So, like, pushing people to actually go to games, really see what it's about. It's different. And I feel like it changes a lot of people's takes on the women's game and makes them kind of want to support more, for sure. So what is kind of, I don't know how much you can speak on this, but the take on overseas. Obviously, there's been players who maybe have gone over there, but also I've talked to some who have felt like it wasn't really any different for them, or like they didn't feel like they got a whole lot better. So, like, what's your take on that as a player feeling like they maybe have to go overseas to get better, to get the reps, or for players who a lot of do it now, staying home, just working out, getting maybe some runs in, but kind of in that off season, kind of handling that. Kind of what's your take on either or?
And for me, that was me. My first few years, I felt like I had to go overseas because it gives you the game reps. It allows you to grow and work on things and to just become more comfortable, to gain more experience on the court at the pro level. And then also to be able to, supplement income. Right. It was really important for me to go overseas I never liked it. And that's why I don't go now. I absolutely strongly disliked going overseas. I mean, it had its moments where it was, it was fine, but it wasn't something that was for me. Like, I wouldn't have done it if I didn't feel like I needed to. But to be able now to not have to go overseas because I have established myself in the league, and I also know now like what I kind of need to get me going and to prepare for the season. Yep. But it gives me a break because I've had 5 knee surgeries, and so playing all year round isn't, it's not good for me. It doesn't make me feel great to just kind of have to continue to just go and go and go. So, I mean, it can be good, and I know some people love it, and, they just want to do it. Yeah. It's definitely an experience. I think it's something that is worthwhile, whether you do like it or not. But I also like not having to feel like I have to go, and just being able to, okay, maybe I'll just go play for like a few months if I choose to do that. But just having that kind of, that leeway to just either chill or be able to go is really good.
What stories in women's sports do you believe kind of deserves more audiences' attention, or that audiences should see more of?
I mean, there are so many, whether it's, the women who are mothers in our sport, being able to navigate that. The people who just deal with things that we have no idea about, whether it's, from a mental standpoint, and just being able to, overcome a lot of different things. Right. Even to, Brittany Griner being able to come home, and she's having, like, I couldn't imagine, being in that situation and then turning around and being able to do, what she's doing right now. And she just looks so happy and free. And you would have never even thought that she experienced what she's experienced. So I think just continuing to get to know the players, and that's another thing that people investing can highlight, just the different experiences of the women. I think that we need, as a W, could use like a show or something, or just something so people can like really see what it's like to be a WNBA player. And I think they'll fall in love with us that much more. Oh yeah, for sure. Well, even watching, I can't remember what it's called, the documentary that was put together from the bubble. Mm-hmm. That was just a small glimpse of like everything that happened. Interesting to see. Yeah, because we really got to see. Not obviously everything wasn't sweet in there, so we got to see a little bit of everything and how tough it was on a lot of players. So just being able to kind of see those things that we don't get to see on a daily, I think that can also bring more support, more fans, because they're knowing you more than just a basketball player. More than just the court. That's awesome. So we're definitely hoping for that to continue to skyrocket and take off, so we can get the support that we deserve. Well, Betnijah, this was so much fun. Thank you so much for taking the time to come in. Thanks for stopping by. All your answers were amazing. So again, we'll take that definitely. As a reminder, State Farm is there to ensure more coverage for women's sports. See y'all next time.